What's up, everyone, and welcome in to your Celtics source. The Celtics were basically beaten to pieces in Game 3 by the Orlando Magic, and I just wanted to do a quick dive into some film on some lazy possessions by the Celtics on both ends of the floor. Thanks so much for watching this video. It would mean a lot to me if you could scroll down and hit that like button, as well as subscribe and follow me on social media so you don't miss out on any news, scores, highlights, and more as the Celtics continue on their quest for Banner 19. Now, first up, we have a play from Kristaps Porziņģis where he just goes to sleep for like 3 seconds, and the next thing you know, Franz Wagner is open on the opposite side of the court for a wide open 3 point jumper. I mean, it's pretty clear that you cannot just let guys take open shots like that because, no matter how poor of a 3 point shooter they are or just shooter in general, it's one thing to, dare a guy to shoot and leave them open that way because that messes with them, psychologically. But when you let a guy just take an open shot with not a single defender within 10 feet from them, you know, most of the time that's going to come back to hurt you. And obviously, this one was by mistake, but the Celtics seem to leave guys open a lot. It feels like other teams don't do the same against the Celtics. All right, next up, we have a poor transition defense from Payton Pritchard, where he just lets Anthony Black, sprint ahead for an easy lob from Franz Wagner. Black is definitely a good couple of inches taller than Payton Pritchard, but he could have at least, made it harder, more difficult for him to get that dunk had he, stayed with him instead of just letting him go unmarked. On this next play, just a careless turnover from Jason Tatum. You know, just one of his 7 turnovers on the night. I think him and Al, were just not on the same page because when JT tossed him the ball, Al wasn't even looking his way. It made it really easy for Banchero to poke it away, and then it's an easy transition dunk for Franz Wagner. All right, just a couple more here. What was Al Horford doing on this play? Like, he's guarding nobody. He's just standing in the paint when, he could instead be helping Derrick White, who is at a mismatch against Paolo Banchero here. Right? Paolo has not proven yet to be a elite passer and playmaker. So, it's certainly worth the risk to double him and let him try and make a pass or two or take a tough fadeaway instead of just letting him, back Derrick White down into the paint and shoot over the top of him. Uh, just another, poor defense here. This one from Luke Kornet, who just keeps backing up, conceding the easy three to Franz Wagner. And Franz is not a great 3 point shooter. So instead, he takes full advantage of this, backing up from Luke Kornet by taking up that space and putting up a soft floater over his head. I mean, Kornet just needs to step up here and make, Franz pick up his dribble and make a decision instead of letting him get basically all the way into the paint where, he can just lob it up and in. Okay, final clip here. Franz is, not a great mismatch for KP either because, he plays more like a power forward than a center and is just able to, dribble around and take advantage of KP and ISO. It would have probably been better if, Jason Tatum and Al could at least a little bit, step into the paint and make that path a little bit smaller and make it a little bit more difficult for Franz to get that shot off. Guys could rotate accordingly, but when you let a guy just go 1 on 1, especially a guy who's basically getting is a not even a it's not even a big mismatch, but like Franz is a lot quicker than KP is. The Celtics just do too much 1 on 1 defending. I think most of the teams in the league do a lot of double stunt and recover, double teaming. Um, you know, the Celtics take pride in their one-on-one defending, saying that you have five capable defenders that can guard 1 through 5 or at least 1 through 4, and that makes this team unique and one of the best defensive teams in the league. But then at times when other teams like the Magic are not a great passers and playmakers and don't have great shooting around them, you know, it can be okay to double. You can also get lots more steals and deflections that way, which I think the Celtics need to take more advantage of, especially in a series like this. But okay, that's all I got for this one. We'll be live after Game 4 here. Hopefully the Celtics can bounce back. Um, Remember that all post game shows can be found on Spotify after the video has been recorded. And until next time, go Celtics.
Not again.